Oh, just filling up Packer Max. Going to add some plot start, but normally when we're seeding back into the buckwheat, we crushed the buckwheat last Thursday. It's totally smoked out brown. It's Wednesday today. We're going to plant our fall blends. That's hand broadcaster, earthway spreader. We'll talk about that a little bit later. In the meantime, we got about 0.4 of an inch of rain this morning. Pretty appreciable. Planting day. I had client trip. I got home late last night, so we didn't have the seed on the ground. We're going out seeding right now. We're going to smash it down. We have rain in the forecast. So a lot of times I'm not using the Packer Max other than I crush the buckwheat down. But today we want to get better seed to soil contact. I want to take advantage of that rain. So everywhere that one of these ridges pushes into a seed, we'll get better germination. So I'm going to run this over, and at the same time we need to get some plot start out. So we'll accomplish two things at one time. So it's a big seeding today. Big seeding, spring plot start, and the Packer Max. So getting a lot done today. Plot start. It's the chocolate milk for your food plots. It's the Hershey syrup for your food plot ice cream cone. It's the motor oil for your food plot engine. Wes is our videographer today. And Jen.
Your shrubbery.
Got the shrubbery. Going
it's the
hardcore
Kubota
today.
hat. Kubota hat.
Okay, let's get started. Today is a fun day because we crushed the buckwheat last Thursday. It's now Wednesday.
It's brown.
It was brown in like 3 days.
2 days, I think.
2 days.
Even the next day it started to get pretty brown.
Dylan's probably flooding this with B-roll right now, showing the progression of when we ran it over, and then the next day, and the next day, and the next day. Probably.
Right,
Dylan?
Right, Dylan?
You gotta say it, just so, because if he picks up his name, like then he'll do it, but he doesn't, I don't know if he listens to every word we say. So, right, Dylan?
Right,
Dylan? Dylan. So, now he'll get it, I bet, I would say.
All right, let's move along.
So, favorite day because every year since 2009, or 1999, I've been planting my fall crops, and it's always an exciting time of the year because you have the anticipation of deer season. We already have some nice bucks showing up, and there's some in the neighborhood. I haven't shown you the picture of Newbie that Chad sent me.
Ooh.
Sent me two pictures of Newbie. I think he's got 14 points and a drop tine, and yeah, he's pretty cool. But Newbie's one that we see regularly later in the season, and it was that buck I think that we saw like 3/4 mile down the road. So it makes me wonder if that's LO beams. Dylan has his doubts.
I know, I'm sure he does.
He said like he's thinking more 99% chance. I was thinking more 50-50.
Okay.
He's thinking more 1% chance.
Sure.
But regardless, we're getting seeds on the ground, and we missed some rain this morning. I was on a client trip, got back late last night, so we missed some rain.
We did.
And about 0.4, which is a good amount. It came in quick. I like seeding before that heavy rain because it really pounds it down in the soil, gets it worked in. But regardless, a lot of times we use smaller seed sizes for our fall blends, and of course the brassicas are really small, and so all those germinate really well. We've taken some of the bigger seeds, we've diminished the number of peas, diminished the we got rid of the soybeans, rid of the oats. All three of those take a little bit more rain and moisture to germinate out of our fall blend. So we take those out or reduce the amount. So a lot of the seeds we throw on the ground germinate really well, and that's key. I know you guys want to keep it simple. We do too. Now the buckwheat, we love rolling that over. There's a lot of benefits of the buckwheat as far as soil moisture conservation, erosion control, building the soil, weed smother crop. There's some great benefits to it, especially when it's a monoculture like that. But you don't have to have that to plant these small seeds onto the ground. So we're broadcasting typically. We have the Earthway Model 2750. I don't know what pallet are we on this year. Is this our third pallet we sold of those?
I think so. Yeah.
Third or fourth?
Yeah, I think it's our third pallet.
We get about 125 Earthways at a time, and we go through a lot because for you guys out there that order seed through Pure Wildlife Blends, then we put the settings for the Earthway Model 2750 right in the description of our seed blends. So Jen, you've taken extensive notes.
Extensive over the years.
Yeah, for what size.
And we adjust it here, but it's not like a lot. Maybe like a half of a point.
I saw it might have been the Fall Power I was looking at, but it was like the Fall Power 365 might have been like setting 3.75 to 4. Or 3.5 to 3.75. So we try to, we try to narrow it down.
Everyone's
a
going to
window.
walk different. Everyone's going to crank at a different speed, so it kind of varies per person.
Yeah.
You're going to spread seed different than I am.
You're not like spinning the earthway like a hyper kid on, you know, Mountain Dew or something. You're not like, you're not running. It's more like just a moderate walking pace, just nice and easy. Mm-hmm. What?
Well, you run and do that sometimes. Sometimes you just get wild and you just go.
Yeah, I just want to get stuff done. But it's just an average pace. And so it really does work out. We talk about 1.5 for switchgrass, for example, for 8 pounds per acre. Someone might spread 7 pounds, someone might spread 9. That's okay, it's within that window.
But switchgrass and brassica are going to be that exact same. We plant brassica at the same.
And we don't want to go too heavy on either one.
No, we don't.
So, but regardless, so we're getting that out today. We missed that rain, and so that's where the Packer Max comes in, and we needed to spray plot start. And plot start, what's nice about that is it's not going to make your pH higher, but what it does is it changes the biology of the soil so it can uptake the nutrients, as opposed to changing the pH so it can uptake the nutrients. It also has a boost in there for a germination starter. And so as a germination starter, so we're throwing down the seeds today, and then after that I'll go through and run it over the Packer Max and spray at the same time so that we get that plot start right over the seeds, right on the soil, and that's the best time to do it, not when it's growing. And then the Packer Max comes into play because we'll be able to actually push that seed down into the soil a little bit by running it over continuously, not to mention the tires. You know, I love the Packer Max. That's efficient. It's 6 feet wide, covers the tires of our side-by-side, any side-by-side. It's perfect. We have a 4-footer for the ATV over there. But I'll tell you, one of these saves me time. It's very effective. It has all the ridges in it. It really helps you out. But in a pinch, I've taken the Kubota here and I've run over seeds like switchgrass on bare soil, a little bit of tacky mud like today. I ran it over so that you run over, and then the next tire tracks, you're going right in the middle. The next one, you quarter it down so that by the time you're done, there's almost no location on the property or on the food plot that doesn't have an ATV tire track or a Kubota. I just don't feel like spending 5 times the time to do that, times 7 acres of plot spread out over 1.5 miles. So not a real efficient use of time, but if you need to do that in a pinch, it does work, especially when you have a rain like this and the soil's damp.
Mm-hmm. This is different than what we're doing from last year. Last year it was going to rain like immediately the next day. We do see rain in the forecast right now, but because that ground
The only reason we didn't plant was because I was at a client.
But with that ground being soft, with that Packer Max, it should help.
Yeah, normally we're spreading right before the rain, and we don't even use the Packer Max. We use the Packer Max to crush the buckwheat, which works incredible, very efficient, timed, and dedicated. So we're going to get out today, and we're going to plant the property, and I'll talk about some of the mixes, the 2 mixes, why we're doing it. And these mixes have been refined since basically 1995, but especially actively working on experimentation, writing about it, speaking about it since 1999. So I think Ed Spinazzola had a food plot book that he put out in 1998, and he referenced me as one of the thank yous in the front of the book for the experimentation up in the UP in Michigan, and for the work we did up there. And that was experimentation at that time, was mixing brassica with clover. That was 1999. Now that's turned into our Big Boost 365 blend. You know, it's been refined this is the 27th growing season after that. So a lot of years of refining, writing about it, and talking to others, and playing around with clients. And so this is a culmination of that. I hope you can appreciate the amount of decades and time that has gone into these blends and where we're at today, and why we plant this, which may not be what you plant. And we'll talk about that in a little bit when we're out on the property. Well, we've got a good start on the day. We're at our biggest field back here.
Yeah, and it's the hottest day of the year. We always pick that day.
I think it is the hottest day of the year, which
No,
usually means there's thunderstorms in the forecast.
Hopefully
we had them this
tonight.
morning. It's been working well with a plot start and
Yeah.
Packer Max smashing everything down. And so we're going to seed first again out here. Now what we're seeded is, we started doing this a long time ago, put brassica on one whole plot, a really important one in the back half of our property in Wisconsin in 2004. And the deer left it alone until December, January. We missed the whole rut, missed all of November, October. And so from that time on, so over 20 years, I've been really planting side by side. I want something from more early to mid-season and then something mid to late. And the mid to late is our brassica, the early to mid is our fall power greens. We called it our WHS blend in the past. But with that blend, I'm looking at, I want to establish something right away. Deer love young buckwheat. So that's in the mix. We have annual clover in the mix. We have tillage radish, which is more the early portion of the brassica. And what's kind of nice is we have different types of brassica to feature early, mid, and late. So the early is the tillage radish, the mid is the greens, we have forage rape, forage turnip, and then we have the late portion, which is different bulbs that we have in there, the green globe, purple top. And if you look at it as a attraction scale, the least attractive portions of the brassica, they eat last. Those are our winter.
They're big.
Yeah, they get big.
They get big.
And they get big because they're not picking on them till then. But then the radish.
Well, you see them picking on those, December, January, even during the off season when we're out here. That's what they're eating, especially during the, when you get snowfall, you'll see them dig down.
And it seems like too, I've noticed they'll chisel down through ice to get, really hard packed snow to get to that. And it seems like there's a lot of energy they can spend to get to that big bulb. Mm-hmm. There's a lot there for them. However, they don't eat it till late. So if you have a blend that has all globes in it and purple top, green globe, then they don't want it. And that's the problem. You put something like that down and they're not going to want to eat it till late. They don't establish a pattern coming to the food plot early. And so why are they going to move over all of a sudden in late November, December to that plot for the timing? They're not. A lot of times that's rotting in the spring then. So they eat the radish first, which is pretty cool. They'll eat the greens and the radish. And we have some pretty cool video of them just lifting that up and eating
just
that.
gnawing.
Yeah, both of them, like a carrot. They love it. And the problem is they eat half of it or a quarter of it and they just drop it. They waste a lot of food.
Yeah, they're lazy eaters.
Yeah, they just munch a little bit, drop it. But that radish is first, greens in the middle, and then the green globe. You always want to balance. You don't want too much radish or just greens. You want that balance. So that's
but in this
mid
plot,
to late.
We have a little bit of everything. Our rut zone, our greens, our brassica, and then back here we have our clover. So this plot has a little bit of everything for this year.
And we have, I was trying to think, we have 6 plots that are big plots that are between at least acre and a quarter and 4.5 acres, which is this one right here. Mm-hmm. And so in those 6 plots are evenly distributed around the property. Then we have all 3 blends. Used to have corn. We replaced that with the rut zone because the corn was just focusing too much on late December and January, and that's not cutting it for us.
No.
So we really have a blend that's starting to offer a little of attraction with the buckwheat and peas in September, really hammering it home in December or in November with the tillage radish, and then beans late November, December, and rounding out with beans into January, February. So that's the idea of that, but it's really centering around that rut zone time. Mm-hmm. The fall power, that's more early to mid. We want those deer browsing on that early. And now, in your case, we do that. This is a mid-ag area. Perfect sweet spot for 50% of you out there that have kind of a mid-agriculture, meaning, somewhere around 40, 60%, 70, 30% cover, and the opposite in ag. Doesn't really matter. If you're high in ag, then brassica works great. The fall power greens, our rut zone works exceptionally well because it's highly attractive. But you definitely want to stay away from our big boost or our big woods brassica. Mm-hmm. We get a lot of people up north, big woods of Pennsylvania. Kevin Smith, who is one of the guys that goes out and looks and visits properties in Pennsylvania. He's using the big woods because it has kale in it. Kale is the least attractive portion of the brassica family. We learned that long ago. So in a place like this, the kale would just die. The big giant stems. We've had to run it over for shooting lanes in December. In a garbage blend in the past we had to use, but it was, we've never used that in our ag area, but in big woods where you don't have other complementary food sources of ag, then the big woods is important because we increase the number of bulbs. Again, they're the least attractive of those three I mentioned earlier, and kale is even less attractive than the bulbs. Now in your area you might say, well, they hammer kale. Well, you're probably in a big wood setting in Kentucky, in Pennsylvania, upstate New York, wilderness areas, areas without a lot of ag, because there's not a lot of other complementary food sources. If you have tons of food plots in your neighborhood, might not be a good choice to have the big woods because it's lower on the attraction scale. However, with the volume of more purple top, green globe, and the kale, you get more volume per acre in that planting. That helps you combat overgrazing, and you could have fewer deer in your area. It's just that that area doesn't have the complement of the great ag around. We have another neighbor with 18 acres of food plots too, another neighbor with 10. So we have a lot of neighbors with good food in the area, and we can't afford to plant something that's not very attractive. That's the perfect fit, that big woods brassica, for some of you out there. Now for others, I've had a lot of clients recently, brand new plots, and I recommend, well, if you're gonna get it done September 1st, then 100 pounds of peas. We have our tundra peas, 100 pounds of oats. We have our tundra oats, cold hardy, 100 pounds of rye. And then you might top dress that around October 1st.
With more rye.
With more rye, about 150 pounds per acre. If you have small food plots and you're in a wilderness, a big woods area, I'd recommend that. If you don't want to pay for the shipping, go down to your local feed store and get what they have. Rye, oats, peas, if you can find it. Forage peas is what we use. At the same time, if your plots aren't ready in October in, say, your central Wisconsin or Michigan or Pennsylvania, you can still plant a food plot, but October 1st, I'd go with about 300 pounds of winter rye per acre and call it a day. You're looking to increase volume this way by having more stems per acre because you're not going to get vertical growth. You want to have more of a sod base that's going to be low. So this is what works for, I would say, 50, 60, 70% of you, but there are the outliers, and for some of you in big woods, you don't have big plots, then you're going to slant more towards those grains, maybe some peas to offer something a little bit different. And then of course we have clover right on this point. We have about 12 clover fields out here. They're all little pass-through plots to get to the big stuff. And of course, Jen, what's your favorite thing to do right here in this spot in the spring?
Kill turkeys. I was just about to say there's a little dusting area over there.
Yeah, a dusting area is always there. We always have turkeys. They love coming into this clover and chicory and alfalfa blend. And even on that blend, our clover, chicory, alfalfa, it's the clovers, you don't want all the same type of clover. Not all white, not all ladino, not all medium red, not all sweet clover or Alsike. Each one of those inhabit a different layer of a clover field. The white clover is lower, the red clover is high, and the sweet clover is Alsike in between. And then the alfalfa is above that, and the chicory grows up between all of it and is a nurse crop during drought.
And you don't want too much chicory.
No, we experimented with chicory for 25 years. Fields, and this wouldn't be, a lot of this stuff, even our 365 blends, I was mixing clover before anybody was even selling it in the industry. You had to mix it. No one even talked about it. I was doing it because I was cheap and I wanted to establish clover. And well, I don't want to say cheap, I just didn't have the money to waste. That was my way of a cover crop. So a lot of these things we've learned by decades of working on it, writing about it, experimenting, and recommending over 1,400 food plots in 26 states for just me personally, let alone the guys. We've been on over 2,000 properties in 30-some states, and that's what we do. We get feedback on how the food plots are doing. You see a lot of similarities. There's habitat managers out there that only work in one region, so they teach this, but that's really all they know. When you get out away from your neighborhood, it's like if you only play golf in one golf course, you're not going to be very good at some other ones. If you only learn how to fish in a bass pond and a farm pond, probably not going to be good on the Mississippi River. The point is you get out, you start to understand why when you're on the Mississippi, when you're catching farm bass, when you're catching bass in the Mississippi, you start to understand your home pond more because you're fishing somewhere else. It's called diversity. And so we get to see all this. It's a real luxury that we have, and feel blessed to be able to look at that. We try to improve our blends every year.
We do. It's not try. We do.
Yeah.
You don't like something, so you change it. Too much of
we
something
changed it a lot.
every year.
Yeah, we
And
were already
multiple
talking about the
blends.
rut zone. We
Yeah.
we might make a couple just small minor tweaks, but we're doing that every year. You just kind of look at it and say, yeah, we're real happy with it this year. I mean,
It looks
it's
awesome.
incredibly beautiful out
It
there
sure is.
behind us.
I'll get some good drone footage for you.
Yeah, it's awesome. And you can see right here with our kill with our Liberty Ultra, it is dead. This is only 6 days later. It looked about like this a
Lovely.
couple days ago.
Yeah, it did.
So pretty awesome. But you know, it's nice because we work with a seed wholesaler. They don't have a blend that we sell. We tell them the blend we're going to sell. And we don't put inert matter in our blends. Really have to stress inert matter. The seed coatings do not, in a food plot setting, make up for the lack of seed. I have 8 pounds per acre of brassica. You buy an 8-pound bag, you're only getting 5.5 pounds of seed because you have 32% inert matter or 28% inert matter. So you only have 5.5 pounds of seed. In an ag setting, soybeans, alfalfa, everything's metered, everything's planted at the same depth, everything's pushed into moisture, the fields are flat, you don't have inconsistencies, tree trunks, moisture that we have to throw on the ground and just hope for the rain. When you have inconsistency, you need that full amount of seed per acre. No coating makes up for it, no matter what it is. And that inert matter is just taking money out of your wallet. And I've even seen some of the companies, they're spreading rye into their standing brassica. Brassica looks beautiful. Big plants, a lot of open soil showing in between because they had that low seed count and low poundage per acre, so they're having to fill in. We don't have to fill in because we have the appropriate amount of seed per acre for food plotters and our inconsistencies that we deal with that farmers do not deal with. So that's a really important thing. That's why we call it
Pure
wildlife blends. Yeah, and we're proud of that. That's something that I've been stressing that for a very long time. Some other high quality food plot seed companies do too, but most of the big box store and garden variety brands, there's a lot of them out there that this is our brassica blend, this is our Clover blend. They're just buying it from a seed wholesaler, having the seed wholesaler mix it. They don't even know what they're putting in the bag. That is not us. We tell our wholesaler what we're putting in the bag based on probably more experience than they have planting food plots. So that's the latest and greatest of what we have. Jen, can you think of anything else other than...
It's 107 degrees and let's go plant.
Yeah, let's go plant and get off the land and pray for rain tonight, because I see that rain right now is already like, it's already kind of soaked into the ground.
Yeah,
and yeah, pretty cool. This stuff is like turning to dust, and it's awesome for this thatch because we need less rain now with this buckwheat on here to germinate the seed. And so among all those other great things that buckwheat does for you, holding moisture against the ground and germinating seed is high on the list, especially when it gets this time of year and you have inconsistent rainstorms. So ready? Let's go. Go.